Welcome back to Imagine Better, everybody. I'm Mark Powers, your host, and I have this amazing magician. He just magically appeared, Anthony Grupido, in studio today. Welcome to episode 15,
nice
my friend.
You.
Good, thanks. Man, I am so honored to have you here today because you kind of intimidated me a little bit when I first reached out. Because man, when I look across all the shows you've been on, TV, everything. That's a lot, man. That's heavy. I haven't done any of that stuff. I'm trying to create something new and exciting and that's sustainable. And I try to find individuals like yourself that have this powerful story who inspires people. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
You know,
cool, I like cool place too.
Thank you. Nice. Yeah, it's a little studio. It does the job, and I'm excited for it. So thank you. Now you just got back from, you said, Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
So he's a little tired, guys, and
Yeah, but I was gonna say the bags under my eyes are every shade darker was a flight delay.
Oh my goodness. So you speak. You told me when we were grabbing coffee, you do about 200 presentations for schools throughout the year.
Yeah, well, technically
and that's coming
more,
up here.
Because some of the schools have me do 2 or 3, sometimes even 4 or 5 in the same day.
Right.
So I visit about 200 school districts and/or like organizations every year to present a keynote, and then as people say, well, when do you have free time? In my free time, I do like magic shows for companies that hire me as well.
So. That is awesome. So Anthony is a keynote speaker. You've been on TEDx at least once or twice. I think once.
Yeah, I did. I've been on TEDx, and then
That's where you met Terry Bean and those guys.
Terry and Charlie, yep. And then this year I'm helping as a producer and outreach coordinator, which is kind of cool too.
Nice. So you talk about, I love how you incorporate magic, which is kind of like puts the happiness in people, right? Gets them oohing and on. You incorporate mental health. Mm-hmm. Which is, we just talked about before we went on camera here, how that is so undermined this year. It's crazy how the world, I was going to say America, but the world doesn't take that as serious as it should be. And then resilience, and then obviously suicide prevention, because you had in your past, in the dark depths of that experience and that journey when you were younger, I think it was 3 times, if I remember, you attempted it.
Yes.
So, you went from bullying to trying to take your life away to now look at you. You're a superstar, awesome human being, brother.
Having some fun with it, that's for sure.
You can tell you're having fun. Just the way you speak to it is awesome. So tell me, what this journey's been, I'm sure, an up and down roller coaster ride for you, but I'm trying to understand why. What's behind the why, the magic? I could have easily gone out and read all my research, but then I wouldn't need you here.
Right.
So, I want to hear from you. What got you into magic? And then how did it evolve to what you're doing today with it?
Yeah, so, and I didn't know this starting out, but I started magic when I was 5.
Yep.
And just obsessed with it. And when I was 8, Lance Burton in Las Vegas, he used to perform at the Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
Brought me on stage and made a bird cage vanish in my hand with a bird in it. It was crazy.
Wow. Holy cow. I'm trying to imagine that.
I was like, looking out of the huge crowd, I was like, I think this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. This is pretty cool.
Nice.
But I also grew up in a wrestling family. So, I love wrestling. With the Olympics that are going on right now, I was just, watching just match after match after match. And
nice.
I suffered an injury which kind of took away my chances of wrestling in college and getting a degree and scholarship that way. So I just knew I wanted to be a magician. It made me feel good. And I think it gave me that adrenaline that I got on the mat.
Interesting.
Performing.
Okay.
So looking back in high school, that's kind of how I was feeding with that. But it was also a chance to not be myself because I didn't want to be myself in high school. I was using self-harm and drugs and alcohol as a way to kind of cope with this big loss in my life. But when I could become a magician, and keep in mind, this isn't doing like a big show. This is showing up at Applebee's in Leo's Coney Island and doing tableside magic and balloon animals.
Okay.
But it was a chance for me to become, something else or someone else and to, not have to live in that life. And eventually, it was a really good healing process for me. But I started the mental health stuff. The original purpose of Magic was to help educate people. So like back when we were tribes people, you know, we had like shamans and people who would take care of the well-being of the tribe, and they would use sleight of hand to invoke wonder. And
interesting.
So even if you look at the tarot card for the magician, he's pointing up and down. He's pointing, you know, to something greater, but also to the earth. Our job is to connect people with the idea that we can do anything. And that's what I educate on. I tell people that at the end of the keynote that, you know, I can't really do any of that. I don't have any special powers, you know.
Right.
But I can use the tools around me to accomplish impossible things. Okay. And I think it registers really well, definitely with middle school and high school students.
Yeah.
But even companies are catching on now that, you know, mental health and resilience are key to success. I mean, I can't tell you how many companies, I guess, how about this? You can't consider yourself a good leader if you don't care about the mental health of your team.
I 100% agree. Thank goodness. Yeah, amen to that, brother. I'm telling you right now, plus you'll get more productivity out of your team, your people,
productivity,
right?
People will want to stay longer.
Right.
They won't be showing up anxious every single day. You know.
Oh, man, I love that because that resonates heavy with me because a lot of these companies, and I've gone through this, where, you know, when I used to work for corporate America, I was stressed out all the time. I was anxious. You know, I have these deadlines I have to meet. They put a lot of pressure on you. So when companies invest in their people, think about not only the productivity, longevity, you know, it's more sustainable corporate model, but that goes home and they become a better parent.
Yes.
A better dad, right? Or a better husband, wife, whatever. And they just, a better community leader. So I like that. It's that full circle, and we need that today.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then, come on, man, you put smiles on people's, you know, their faces, and you make them feel good, and then they look down and go, wait a minute, where's my watch? No. Oh, yeah. What time is this guy? Wait a minute, no.
Yeah, the pickpocketing was...
yeah, how did that happen?
There's a video of David Blaine taking George Bush's watch.
Oh, really?
Like way, you know, early 2000s, I would assume. And I was like 12 or 13 and just obsessed with the watch steal. So it started, you know, with family members drinking, and I would go for it, and some would catch me.
Come on, that would be an easy one, no?
Oh, excuse me. And then in high school, I could go for it because it was okay. In high school, it was okay for me to fail the watch steal. Yeah. Afterwards, it was not okay for me to fail because then I'm an adult, right? So it wasn't cute anymore. So luckily in high school, I could do it, and then you know, now it's led to, I think I've gotten over 300 million views just pickpocketing online.
That's insane.
Which you'd think it was, you know, this huge thing for my career.
Right.
But it only generated, like, in 300 million views, like maybe 6 or 7 leads. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So, but I think I definitely, when people see the views and the following, I think that helps. But
it does, I think. You know, I mean, social media is a crazy beast. I mean, in my everyday world, that's what I'm you know, I'm a fractional chief marketing officer. I mean, so I've been doing it 26 years.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and so, I mean, social media, companies, individuals are still trying to embrace it and understand how to get out of it and how to build personal brands. But I mean, whether you just stumbled into doing it or not, I mean, you're rocking it out, and I love that. And I love how, when I watched, like, especially on TikTok, how the people just circle around and they're like, what? Get out of here. And your card trick thing is crazy. Like, when you have them and you just kind of pick up the card and then that's their card. That blew me away every time I've seen that. I was like, how the hell is he doing? I'm sitting there going, I'm looking at the videos close. I'm zooming in on YouTube saying, how is he doing that? You know?
Yeah, no, there's a couple of good videos on there. And, oh man, I forget what I was going to say. But I've had a blast with it. But yeah, I kind of stumbled into the one, you know, I should have started TikTok way prior and monetized it way prior and et cetera. But I don't like social media. So I want to state that people laugh at me and call me a hypocrite because they're like, well, you post. But the truth is, I don't like social media. I mean, it is the scourge of the earth. It's killing everybody.
I kind of agree with you.
There's no data that shows that it's not, but there's plenty of data that shows that it's not good for us.
It's very harmful, mentally harmful.
So even if you look at the state of Utah, they're the first to do it. So Utah has a social media ban for anyone under 18. You need like actual parental consent to create a social media account. And so they've even gone as far as between 10:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. to my understanding that they have a blackout for social media. So, which is amazing. In my opinion, that kind of should be everywhere. It should be national.
I think I would agree with that.
We need more regulations on this. I mean, when you look at the political side and how the voting, this huge thing that I didn't really read a bunch into because I didn't care about it, but then they put regulations on that. But when it comes to our kids' mental health, they're just like, eh.
Yeah.
Like Mark Zuckerberg isn't a mental health specialist, nor does he truly, I think, understand the impact, good or bad, that it's having. And I'm not going to speak for him. I think if we were in the same room, though, he might not be able to answer this question. So hopefully this podcast reaches this up.
If you're watching this, you got to give me a holler so we can have this conversation.
I know multiple people who have worked at Facebook, and they have this kind of board, right, where they can say, hey, what about this, what about this? These multiple people asked about a driving mode. So when you plug in Spotify or Apple Music, it recognizes that you're driving, and it puts it on a driving mode. Plenty of apps do this.
Oh, yeah.
There's no reason that Facebook shouldn't have a mode where it knows you're driving.
Yeah.
And so does Instagram and TikTok, all of this. It should not allow you in the car to access these things, especially when you're plugged in. It knows that you're driving. And, when you look at statistics, it went from, suicides actually being the number one leading cause of death for, ages like 15 to 24.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's car crashes.
Yep.
And, a lot of people, well, what was happening? I was looking at social media. And it's just like, there's so much more we could do, but we just haven't for some reason.
That bothers me too, because, my own journey and kind of what led me to start this show, to be honest with you, Anthony, is I've gone through dark depression. 4 years, nobody knew it. Not a single person. Up until a year ago, I went and got help. Finally, 54 years old, I finally went and said, you know what, I can't do this. So I did, and I've been going every Tuesday. Everyone that's on the show, and they watch it, they know every Tuesday I go. Never miss a beat. I'll never stop going. It gives me the strategies. It builds my confidence back up. It's given me the guidance and structure I need to be a better person, to see things differently, man. So I think a lot of people, if they would just hold themselves accountable and say, hey, therapy or admitting to mental health or illness isn't a crazy thing. It's a healthy, proactive approach to life.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people may not understand that. So like, I went to therapy for many years, and it was amazing. Yeah. And I had a depression and anxiety diagnosis.
Okay.
And then the lifestyle that I was living and the people that I had in my life were a major, and same with my habits and et cetera, were a major contributing factor to these diagnoses, right?
Oh, okay.
But over time, when I replaced these people, when I replaced these habits and actions of in my own life, it went from having a depression and anxiety diagnosis to clearing that, and then going into a transition disorder. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is that sometimes that transition disorder gives you these symptoms from depression or anxiety, and they think, oh man, now I have a depression diagnosis, I have this anxiety diagnosis, when in reality, you're shifting into something better, and you don't exactly know how to do or feel in this. And that's why it's so great to workshop with a therapist on that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you just need a little bit of guidance and, okay, now that I've left this behind, what do I do with this big open field in front of me?
Yeah, what's interesting is I've been writing this new presentation that I'm speaking at Disrupt HR Detroit in October. And there's a few other events I'm going to be doing this year, but it's all on the topic of lifetime to erase. And it's not that we can go back and erase stuff. Sometimes, people wish they probably could. But it's more about the transformation you're talking about. It's more about embracing change, that resilience and that, and that growth mindset to get through. Because, we have to dig deep to change. Yes. And I love that about how you soften it with magic to make the happiness and joy of people. And then, but telling them such an important message and getting them to realize, it's like giving a kid, trying to feed him or her vegetables, but you're like, I'm not going to eat that. Then you put it into a shake or something, and they don't know they're getting vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They're getting the mental health.
Exactly.
And, you know what I mean?
And it disarms students. So like it is a triggering topic, and not just for high schoolers or middle schoolers, but there are some people in the crowd where I say I've struggled in this and this.
Right.
They instantly go, because I'm an adult.
Yeah.
They instantly go, oh, you have no clue.
Right. Yeah.
They're guarded. They don't trust me, and I was in their shoes. So so I say this in my talk that the schools tell us that we need 3 people to go to when we are depressed or anxious or when we are having suicidal ideation.
Okay.
But that advice is extremely dangerous because it is not the full sentence.
Right.
So if the 3 people that you go to, if they don't know what to say or what to do, they can actually make things much worse.
I can imagine.
So, when you approach these people that are supposed to love you, so they love you, but that doesn't mean they have good advice for you.
Right.
So the first person that I approached basically told me I was a teenager and it was just my hormones, but that's complete crap. So for anyone listening, being a teenager doesn't give you a depression or anxiety diagnosis. That's completely false. So the second person asked me, have you tried smiling or doing yoga? And I'm like, what? And then the third person basically told me, if I wanted to die by suicide, I would have done it by now, and yada yada. So a lot of people share this experience, and it breaks so much trust with adults. And using magic to kind of disarm them, like I said, it kind of takes away that bias of like what is possible.
Yeah.
So like you have rules written in your life. So, this is law, this is law, this is law.
Yeah.
And then I hack into a phone and multiply numbers on a calculator, and it equals their mom's phone number. Or I multiply bottles out of thin air, or a wind-up toy rabbit finds a card. I've broken these laws. So now they can open this new perception. And I'll even get messages a year later. Students telling me, when I first saw your presentation, I was guarded. I didn't want to listen and yada yada. And now I realize what you were saying. It was very helpful. And even parents have reached out saying my kid came home and told me all of these things, because you did a presentation today. So thank you. We're getting help now. And that's the kind of stuff that I like to see, because there are so many people who say they have like this data-backed or data-driven mental health or suicide prevention course or this, when in reality, they really don't.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of true data that proves that you have prevented suicides. And so I think
I agree with that.
As we open this market, so this is a really tough conversation for the mental health community.
Right.
But the mental health community, first, it's very politicized, which sucks.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of competition, which also sucks, because there are people who, for example, I make a living off of giving these keynotes.
Yes.
Some people make a living off providing courses. Therapists make a living off their clients. So there is that business side to it that is just, I wish it didn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
But then you get all these people who are coming into this field saying, oh, I have the answer, I have the solution, when in reality, I think we all do. So if Mark Powers saves the world in the way that you want to save the world, and I save the world in the way that I want to save the world, we're all saving the right people. We're all saving different people and who speak to different things. And it'll just be really interesting to see the future of all of this, especially because I know that our youth are so much more involved in this kind of thing.
So you were saying something to me before we went on camera today, how the state of Michigan reduced its budget for mental health.
Actually on my
quite
phone,
a bit.
check this out. On my phone, on the Notes app, I have the exact, because I
mean, that is crazy when we're in a state of urgency, I think.
We had a $301.5 million cut in mental health and school safety funding.
Wow.
So.
What's up, state of Michigan? Come on.
Yeah, big L on that one. That doesn't make too much sense to me, but
I mean, in here we need it more than ever. Look at just, break it down across schools, right? Something that resonates and you're in schools all year. These school shootings that happen. Okay? These people, they have issues going on. Like, there's a reason. They need, I don't know it all, but and then you think about these just unhealthy individuals that are out there trying to take people out, right? It's like, where's the help that they need? and what drove these people to do that.
Yeah, and that's a tough conversation because most people who are mentally ill are victims of violence. They're normally not violent. They're normally the victims. So there's no like mental health diagnosis that makes you a school shooter, right?
Right.
And growing up in the Lake Orion and Oxford community, I was very connected to a recent one. Actually, knowing the shooter and knowing some of the victims.
Okay.
And just from conversations with that person leading up to the event,
right?
It just really it makes me sad. Really blows my mind. But I know the community has give or take on this, but even looking back at the counselor, why would you keep this person in school? Well, counselors are trained. He's thinking about like, I care about this kid. I don't want him to go home and harm himself. It's very rare that we think, oh, this person's going to harm us.
Right.
Because in his mind, it's like, he can see what's going on. I mean, you have two awful, awful parents. I mean, seriously, like, just terrible people.
Right.
Like, I met them, awful people. Like, there's no way, there's no sugarcoating it. I would say it to their face.
I think everyone would agree with you.
Like, come on. Like, so he's like, man, I want to help this kid. And unfortunately, that there's so much more to it, I guess, and I don't want to offend anyone or stick my thoughts where they don't need to be because.
But it's a valid point because this is all the more reason where your topics and what you do and how you make your living and how you are impacting the lives of many across communities. This is an important issue that needs to be addressed, and companies need to step up for their employees. Right? You never know what someone's going. They come to work, they're disgruntled over something. And you never know what people can snap, right? And they do. Yeah. We do. So, and then you go to school, same thing. So, interesting though, so since that incident at Oxford, have you spoken there at all and done any events there?
Yeah, so I've done all their elementary schools with my Power of Words presentation. And the Magic of Hope conversations that I had with the school and a coalition that was bringing me in, it just wasn't ready. We weren't ready. It wasn't appropriate.
Yeah.
So we were going to hold a presentation, and I think it was just best to, instead of mandatory, do it, because I don't think it was the correct time to get the whole school into one room.
Right.
And so I will be eventually, back there again. But like I said, it was just the right time, and there are professionals that are working within that district to kind of, make sure step A, B, C, D, E, et cetera, are happening, because there is a science to healing, after an event like this. So letting the professionals do their work, and don't get me wrong, I am a professional, but bringing me in when it's appropriate.
Right.
And when I do an assembly, it's really important to kick it off with so I like to kick off mental health programs or kick off initiatives that school have, or close it by saying, now that you've done this, this is the reason why, or in the middle of it, schools, our kids are burnt out, yada, 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 we got to bring you in as a good reminder. That's what it's important for.
So how does the day in life of Anthony outside, you're a workhorse. That's what I'm getting. It seems like when I look at you, like you said, in your free time, you'll go do magic stuff. So do you ever just kind of chill out and give your own mental wellness a break?
I'm crazy. I kid you not. So during the school year, and I'm learning to relax, maybe because I'm getting older and it's just forcing me.
Right.
But until COVID happened, until 2021, I couldn't sit on a couch for 10 minutes.
Wow.
I couldn't. It was just terror.
Oh, man.
So I had to teach myself how to do that, but I don't enjoy relaxing. So during the school year, this is actually what my day looks like. 4:30 I get up. I'm at the gym between 5 and 6 a.m. I head to my school presentations. I come home. I do my office work that needs to be done in calls.
Yep.
And this is between 2 and 5.
Okay.
And then I will go do magic at night. So in the mornings, I'm a keynote speaker.
Right.
And in the evenings, I'm an entertainer. And I really enjoy this lifestyle. And in between there, I fit in gym, and I fit in friends and emails and calls, and sometimes I'll start my emails at like 4 in the morning, waking up, typing away with coffee and breakfast.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I enjoy the chase, and then recently this summer, I tried not to take as many gigs. So in July, I beat my numbers for last year.
Okay.
This year in 6 months.
Oh my.
So in February
Congratulations.
alone, I did 54 different keynotes in like 5 or 6 different states, and it just hammered that. I mean, that alone hammered me into the ground.
I would imagine.
And these weren't like easy to get to places. I went to Valley City, North Dakota, which is like an hour and a half west of Fargo. So an hour and a half west into the middle of nothing.
Oh
then I was in Oklahoma, the same place I just was, but that is an hour and a half northeast of Tulsa, in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
So, just flying somewhere, I still have to drive.
Yeah.
And I love working. I don't like to chill.
Big question for you then. So your own mental state. How do you manage to keep everything cool, keep this positive vibe going where you don't break down emotionally and tired and what is that? How do you manage that your own?
The gym.
I would imagine. I like that myself.
And my sauna, or not, the gym, sauna, and steam room are like key to like relax me.
Yeah.
But my diet is so important. So like I will fast if I have to, because overloading myself with sugar and like high carb diet and things like that, well, there's no way to do what I do if I do that. Like high protein, very nutritious, and like just a mindset. Like there are days where it's 2, 3 in the morning and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not getting any sleep tonight for no reason. I'm just gonna lay here and I gotta be up in a couple hours anyways, or an hour or two.
Oh, wow.
And just deciding, we have one life, and back in the hardcore party days, I mean, I've done way worse. So, that's kind of the thing where when I was coping by partying and things like that, I would stay up all weekend.
Oh my God! Oh,
and that's when I was I couldn't do that today, but
no way.
Just kind of being like, dude, like you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's similar because last week I had Renee Caruso on, and she is into the health and mindset coaching and things. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but we had a similar conversation around our diets and stuff and food. Like I eat pretty healthy. Before I came into the office today, I mean, my day starts early and I work out every morning, 5 days a week, sometimes 6. But it's like my diet lately has been getting better. I mean, my diet's always been healthy. But boy, I tell you, I've been on this journey of, ooh, that looks good. A slice of pizza, no problem.
I mean,
but your energy levels changed.
Yes.
Like epically.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Like if I had pizza for breakfast, like there's just no way.
Yeah.
And like just beating the norm. So like I don't get why like people want to hate on red meat, eggs, milk. It's the dumbest thing I've ever. And when people tell me like, oh, I stopped drinking milk, I'm like, why?
Why? Yeah.
And they're like, well, it's not good for you. And I'm like,
said?
Almond milk isn't good for you. Like,
right.
Look how it's made. Look what's in it.
Yeah.
Milk, and they're like, well, there's sugar in milk. I'm like, that's naturally occurring sugars. Like, that's like saying blueberries are bad because they have sugar in them. Like, that's ridiculous. Like
natural
sugars. Yeah, and like that's okay. Like, and don't get me wrong, that's not all that should be in your diet, but when you look at the nutritional level of all of these things, like eggs are so epic for you. Actually, this is kind of a cool fact I read, and they're so nutritious that Daniel Radcliffe, it wasn't obviously the Harry Potter movie, but he did this one movie where he was, I forget the name, but he was stuck in the jungle for like 2-3 weeks. It's based off a true story.
Okay.
They went hiking in like the Amazon with a group. They got split up. He got left, and he redid the story about how this dude survived in the Amazon alone for like 2-3 weeks.
Really?
And then was found. It's a true story too. The guy.
I got to check this out. I haven't heard of it.
So to prepare for the role, to get skinny, he ate 1 egg a day because it was nutritional enough to keep his brain functioning and what he needed to do. You know what I mean? But it was so I don't know.
I think the food side of life, I think it's really complex because there's a lot of people who have their opinion on almond milk, for example, and it's just again, the internet, social media, everybody, right? will fill our heads with so many different variations of the truth. And
it's influencers.
You got to do your own research.
It's these influencers as well who just jump on a fad. They have no freaking clue what they're talking about. And for people who are like, one of my buddies did it. He was like, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go like vegan. I'm not gonna do meat, yada yada.
Right.
And he posted the results. He went from a ripped individual with an 8-pack to just a flabbier build. And he was like, this is not true. And he further said, and for people who just make this big switch, you don't have the gut bacteria to do that.
Right.
Like your gut bacteria builds itself off of like what you have eaten your whole life. So if you go from eating this and then you just make this drastic switch, you're not going to feel good. Right. It's a slow process. So
and it's got to be sustainable, right? It's not just this. Okay, I'm gonna try it for a 21-day challenge. We see all these challenges out there now.
Yeah, I don't understand those. And like I said, we as humans, I mean, we need protein.
Right.
And when you only eat plant-based and you're getting 50 or 60 grams of protein a day, that's not enough. Like an adult healthy male needs 150 grams of protein. Like if you weigh that much, you need like 80% of your body weight. So
isn't that crazy to think about?
So 2-3 years ago, I started a journey of like trying to gain muscle and weight, and it worked really well.
Yeah.
So I was weighing about 164 to 170, and I'm at right around 195 to 200 today.
Okay.
And I wasn't able, because of my rotator cuff tear from high school, my wrestling injuries, I couldn't even put 25 pounds shoulder press above my head. Now I can shoulder press 100 like 10 times.
Nice.
And it went from eating a mass amount of healthy proteins and things like this.
Yeah.
I've never been faster, stronger. I've never been able to work more and more efficiently and clearly. I sweat less.
Wow.
Maybe the sauna helps me with that, but...
Right, yeah. I love saunas. Infrareds are awesome. I like those ones.
I just like the heat ones.
You still like the old school
I go to the Great Lakes.
ones?
Oh yeah, I go to the Great Lakes Athletic Club, and their sauna sits right at about 200 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll walk in there with full sweatshirt and gear sometimes, and just like I'm a wrestler again, and I'll just sit in the corner for 30 minutes, and people are like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "Fighting demons, bro."
Fighting demons.
Laughing, but the steam room, I'll make it so we couldn't even see each other.
Right.
And there's no oxygen in there. And it's just like rinsing my lungs, and I love it so much because, there's so much more toxins in everything nowadays. And
gosh, yeah. Well,
I don't have any answers of how to fix any of this, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know if any of us do, but there's a lot of people who have their opinions on it, So, but it's interesting that we kind of derailed a little bit, but I think it's also makes a point because it's when we eat a certain way, right? Especially if it's healthy, we're working out, just enough exercise, whatever the goal is of the individual to accomplish that. It's just to stay fit, stay sharp. You look good, you feel good, you're going to present yourself in a more positive manner. Mental health, therefore, it's kind of a proactive approach to building on the successes of that. I mean, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think if all of that is working, then you're in a better mental state of mind, right? Therefore, you're going to be a better human being.
I think discipline is the key to freedom.
That's not easy for a lot of people.
And like, I didn't go this morning because I wanted to get some rest. I'm going to go in between gigs. But, my buddies and I, I'm very lucky to have friends that are also entrepreneurs like me. So one of my friends runs a catering business.
Okay.
We're able to go in the mornings together and to push each other, or to be
nice.
like, I didn't see you at 8:30, so you better be there at some point today because this is what you're doing today.
Right.
And if you don't go today, we just destroy ourselves the next day. But even when I'm running, which is one of my favorite meditations. So
is it? Okay.
I meditate through movement, and a lot of people, I think, don't understand that like meditation doesn't need to be sitting still. And meditation is not peaceful. Right. I think a lot of people think meditation is like clear mind peacefulness.
Right.
That is like Buddhist monks maybe like years into their meditations. But they'll even tell you the same thing, that a lot of this meditation is dealing with these thoughts.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about them. And yes, you'll get to points of this Zen clarity. Okay. But the whole point of meditation is to feel and to think. And when you feel these thoughts, you can work through them finally because you're creating the environment and space to do so. But for someone who can't sit still, like me, when
You're doing good now.
Yeah, I know, right? But when I run, like I'll do 11 miles, like 8 to 11 miles.
Right.
And I just have all these thoughts in my head and this, and it's like, nope, you got to stay focused on what you're doing. And then it's sidetracked, no, stay focused on what you're doing.
Yeah.
And eventually, it builds this resilience that wasn't there before. So if I take like a couple months off,
right,
and then I do this, I feel more resilient. It's easier for me to work. My keynotes are better. My magic is better. The way I socialize with people is better.
Do you find yourself on the keynote point there? Do you find yourself having to prepare still for all these, or it's just so routine now, or how do you individualize it? I guess maybe
Saturday and Monday. Saturday I presented in Macomb for the Macomb County Community Mental Health puts on this big mental health fair once a year, and I do the keynote. Well, it hit me. I took July off, and I got on stage and I was like, uh-oh. I was like, oh man, that's right, I haven't done this in a little bit. And it just instant came back.
Nice.
And then Monday in Oklahoma, same thing. But I had 90 minutes, and I basically had my presentation, which is 45 to 50, and in my mind, I planned the other 40. I've done it in the past, but the truth is it really depends on what the audience feels and does, and I have everything memorized, and I know exactly how long these sections take.
Right.
So it's kind of like a little game of like some audience play, back to the keynote, just a back and forth to kind of make it, because if you just talk for 90 minutes, no one gains anything.
No. You want that audience engagement, and I would imagine, or feel the energy off the crowd, like they're taking it in, or they're like nodding heads or something, body language, right?
Yeah, and during the school year, I definitely get caught up in it. Like, I'll notice, especially in May, like when I did 54 back-to-backs.
That's insane, man.
It was weird. I could be on stage presenting, and it was going really well. Yeah. But in my head, I'm like, I'm like doing the keynote, interacting, yada yada, and I'm present. But my mind is like, oh man, when you get home, you got to do this, and that's when I realize I'm getting burnt out, when I'm not present. But I think that's just one of the most like beautiful things is to truly be able to be present, because when I'm present on stage, I really feel that I'm able to create this environment, and I'm able to share energy with other people. Not in like this, like,
love that.
I don't know how to describe it. Like, I'm not this person that believes like, oh, I can like, give you the vibes, you know what I mean? But like, I really do believe that humans are so amazing and connected and powerful, and that we're able to create energy together. I don't know how to describe it. But
I agree with you that. I mean, when I walk into a room, my personality is one that feeds off energy. And if I walk into a room and it's kind of, then I start to feel that. But then I have like this little, I don't know how to explain it. It's like this little boost that just goes, okay, I need to create this energy now. So then I will be the one that's out there overstimulating the audience. Like, I'm just going like, I'm a high-strung individual anyway. Yeah. So it's easy for me when I walk in. Now, I haven't done any keynotes like you ever, but I've done speaking engagements, and I've always found myself very comfortable on stage in front of people. And as long as you know your topic, right? And you also can engage with the audience and get that energy back. So it intrigues me how you do what you do. I mean, every time I get somebody here and they sit in this seat, and I ask them, how do you do what you do, and what's next? It's the stories are amazing. So I'm going to ask you. I mean, what's next? Well, how do you evolve from where you are today?
Actually, that's funny. I didn't think I'd get this far. So I kid you not. Everyone always is like, oh man, like what's next? And I'm like, I don't know.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, no, I kid you not. I am just so grateful to have what I have. Like, this was my dream. So, like, I've opened and worked with the Impractical Jokers.
I saw that.
Jim Gaffigan, Bill Engvall, some of the AGT winners. I opened, UWM had me open for the Chainsmokers at their company party. There's like 20,000 people there. Like, I never thought I would live that. I didn't think people would, like, there was a time this is funny. There was a time I was at a bar, and I was 21, and I was at Sagebrush Cantina, and these group of businessmen walk in, and I do a card trick for them, and 3 days later they're flying me to Vegas, like crazy stuff like that has happened. You know what I mean? Where there's the Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs, one of the most prestigious golf resorts ever. So like there's hallways of celebrities and presidents that stay there, and somewhere I can never afford to stay.
Wow.
But I'm being flown there for a week, to do a trade show and to do all the I never thought I would live this kind of life.
Right.
And I'm just very grateful for it.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
It's never really changed me. So like in the sense of like I don't have friends who are doing the same. Like I have some friends who are unemployed and just trying to figure out their life and keep rent. I have some friends who are doing very well and high up at places like Goldman Sachs. I have, but ever since childhood, I've never defected on anyone. I've never really changed who I am. I've just tried to become a better person, and I've pissed people off. I've angered people. I've made, and that's the thing where I think, when you look at my online presence, they're like, oh, I wonder if he thinks, he's perfect. Like, no. Absolutely not. Like,
I don't think perfection
I'm stubborn.
exists.
Like, I'm stubborn as hell. Like, when I am, so I have tunnel vision, and my mom says that, where, people are like, oh, you're ADHD. It's like, nope, this is the goal, and I will get it done, and it doesn't matter what else happens. Like, this is what's happening. So, if I want to sell someone on something, like, I will just all in on that.
Laser focus.
I'm
I've never been diagnosed with being ADD or something like that, but I'm just like squirrel. I stay pretty focused though, and everyone tells me like the same thing. I'm a big thinker, and then I'm very structured and organized. But then once I get to that, it's like, okay, now how do I evolve it from here? And then I'm like, I only took it to this far. And then I think that's just my personality, my brain says, all right, this is where I need to admit that I've taken it as far as I can. So with you, what's next? You're just going to continue to blossom and grow and change lives. I mean, that's an amazing accomplishment. When you go across communities, especially at the school and the youth level, doing what you do, I think that's honorable, and that is what a legacy.
Yeah, and I've had this discussion actually. I've had multiples. I've had talent agencies approach me.
Right.
Let's sign you. We're going to make you big. We'll give you a Vegas contract. So this is a fun story. So ridiculous. Like I helped the foundation, or I helped basically found a big company out in Las Vegas.
Okay.
And they hired me to come out, and I had to entertain this very, very wealthy person. And I kid you not, I entertained that person, and we had a couple drinks together.
Okay.
His buddy happened to be one of the higher-ups that owned like the Link, Harrah's, etc.
Oh my goodness.
I impressed the guy so much, he goes, tonight you're doing a Vegas show. I said, what? And this guy's had enough to drink.
Oh my.
He calls an Uber. We go to the place, and next thing I know, I'm on stage in front of all these people in a casino.
That is awesome.
Just wild stuff like that, where it's like I don't really know I don't think the plan is as fun as just like letting it happen.
Actually, that is impressive, because sometimes just spontaneous opportunities for them in that moment, just something like that. I mean, who would have? You couldn't even plan or make something like that up. It just, boom, we're jumping on, we're getting an Uber and going.
And that's what I enjoy, because I feel like today, okay, awesome. So back in the day, you had to work hard, and you had to be talented, and you had to earn your place for these spots.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you have to just have a couple million followers and yada yada. And I know people who with millions of followers with no talent at all, but they seem very talented. Or those same people, they claim to open for these celebrities and work with them, when in reality they met them or paid for backstage passes. So I can't explain how many other my competitors. I'll go to their website, and it's a backstage. They bought backstage tickets to a concert, and they're like performed for this band, and I'm like, you did not.
You did not.
You paid to take a picture with them. Like there's a huge difference, but it does speak on stage. I really do think it does. Where, and not trash talking anyone at all. It just that's what I don't enjoy about social media, is that these kids will follow these people and look up to them, in reality, these are false idols. And when you start getting religious, we're definitely warned about these false idols. And that's something I look out to, because even some of the opportunities that even keynote agencies, like speaker agencies, Anthony, you got to sign with us. And I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Why? And I'm like, I want to do my own thing. I want to do it correctly. And it's not for the money. I can't tell you how many people I've declined because, hey, we want you to come out and do this. I'm like, what does your mental health staff look like?
Yeah.
Oh, you have no mental health support in your school? I can't bring this extremely triggering presentation to you. You can't help anybody.
Right.
Well, the principal could talk to them. And I'm like, the principal doesn't have any mental health training.
Yeah,
he's not qualified. And they just get so like, what? And then there's the flip side, where I've actually had school officials, or so I had a high school principal book me.
Okay.
The superintendent basically was like, nope, we don't talk about that here.
No way.
This is like still a thing. So then I have to educate them enough to be like, dude, trust me, you want this. Like, this is not.
Oh my God, I can't imagine that.
Like, it's the second leading cause of death for students. Like, I don't understand how you could ignore it. And when people think talking about suicide increases the likelihood of it, no, that came from stigma. In the 90s or early 2000s, I think it was the CDC, someone published something that basically proved that, yes, if you talk about the attempts and how you went through them, like, that's no bueno. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I do.
Yep.
I tell kids how to cope healthily, but I also tell kids how to not cope healthily. I say these are the unhealthy coping skills and the truth around them. So and I get a huge laugh for this. Part of the unhealthy part, which is, you can see my TED Talk where I do this online.
Yeah.
We had a guy come to my high school. He literally stepped out on stage and was like, kids, you're going to try drugs and alcohol once and you're going to die. Your whole life's going to be ruined. Oh my God. And I'm like, nope, my uncle drinks a lot. He's at work right now. He makes a lot of money. That's bullcrap. Yeah. And like, immediately tune this guy out. You know what I mean? And then just ridiculous. Like, just have an honest conversation. Kids are so smart. They're so much smarter than we are, especially like, I don't think people even realize how smart these kids are. Like, middle schoolers are geniuses nowadays. It's ridiculous. Like, same with high schoolers. They know
device and technology, but it is scary though because they have so much access. They have such, access to so much information is what I'm trying to say. It's terrible. And come on, let's face it. And I'm a dad. You know, I have two amazing kids, and they're younger.
How old are they?
My daughter's 10 and my son's 11.
Okay. And
they are gamers. They love sports.
I am too.
My son enters Fortnite competitions there's so much. The kid's, he gets his headphones on. He's controlling. He's like such a leader. I love it. But he's on here yelling at his teammates, and encouraging them.
He's the kid I mute as soon as I enter for the high pitched voice. Right. I'm like, all right, he's mute. He's probably screaming at me.
You would probably, yeah. But it's the stuff that they have access to on YouTube and TikTok, especially. Unfortunately, these kids, and I think as much as us parents want to monitor all of this stuff.
Yeah, the TikTok thing is ridiculous. We can go from let's ban TikTok to let's talk about it for a few more years. We know how dangerous it is and yada yada, but let's just let our kids have it.
Yeah,
it's totally fine.
Yeah,
like let's ban alcohol, let's ban drugs, let's ban this, let's ban that. But kids,
social media is okay.
There's R-rated movies. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. I truly, and don't get me wrong, I have 500,000 followers on TikTok. Yeah. I get 300 million views in the last few years. I still think TikTok is like so bad. Yeah. And I don't know. Like, I'm a hardcore, I love America.
Yeah,
like,
I can tell. That's awesome.
I love our country, and America is the greatest place in the world. Yeah. And I think we have lost a lot of sight on that.
Oh, but you're not kidding.
When you look at what's happening overseas and other countries, where like people are like, we don't do enough for certain communities here. I'm like, it's punishable by death to be in that community in this country. Like, I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm not saying we definitely have more to do. But I'm like, guys, like, we have an amazing, amazing country. And like,
first of all, hell yeah, brother.
Yes, thank you.
Second of all, what could we do, in your opinion, to drive more awareness around this? What does, at the local level, state level, federal level, what's your thought on that? Like, how do we get this? Because this should be a top priority in today's world, how messed up America really is.
Well,
messed up the world.
Man. I think a lot of people, that's the thing, is a lot of people have a lot of opinions.
Sure.
I'm not Republican. I'm not Democrat.
Right.
I just don't see, I don't think those have definitions.
Why be divided?
They just don't have definitions anymore.
Right.
I'm friends with a lot of politicians, and they're great people, and they're just going to tell you whatever they need to tell you, and
sure.
I think we accept that. And I think choosing the lesser of two evils is maybe causing a lot of our youth to not want to vote. It's because they think it's it's a bunch of crap. And
they're not elected, they're selected, a lot of people tell me.
Yeah, and like the whole point.
Does your vote really count? I don't know.
Right, and I think a lot of people will be upset about this too because I've shared it, and that's the thing.
Comment below, you guys, if
I know,
you have
right?
an opinion.
Yeah, comment below. So like, a lot of people are very triggered by political conversations, where if you say something, they're just, like, that shows me right there you don't have the emotional maturity to make these kinds of decisions. Correct. And I think that's a big thing.
Oh my God, spot on.
And when you look at America as a whole, so for example, this is a very triggering topic. We stormed the Capitol a few years ago. That is so American.
Right.
We burned the Capitol down twice. Because we didn't think that we were being, we did. We learned this in history, and our teachers and even the books we read are like, this is so American.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's like, what the heck? I think it's ridiculous that I live in a country where burning an American flag is protesting.
Right.
But burning another flag is hate speech.
Yep.
Burning the American flag is hate speech to me, and it's terrorism. It is unacceptable to do that.
Yep.
And for a lot of the people who, don't get me wrong, protesting is also very American.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's where I'm saying, like, it's just ridiculous to me when it comes to the, like, even I don't know, like, even when you, like, read the Magna Carta, like, which I don't think most people could. I don't think most people even remember what it is. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I would be guilty of that myself,
The reason we became Americans, like, just go all the way back to these old documents and things like that. And I think handing more power to the states, I think, would be an amazing, amazing thing because, I could go on.
Well, but you mentioned, a lot of this I really believe is why the youth our youth market today, they're losing, if not already have lost faith in our government or our superiors that are trying to say, you need to do this, you kids, right? But yet what they see over here, to your point, they're super smart, they're very resourceful, and they have a different level of intellect than the youth market 10 years ago. So they're seeing and making decisions based off, what they're watching on YouTube, what they're seeing on the news, what they see in their household, what they see at school.
Truths.
Right?
The truths of, like, we know political people, like, pay to have people assassinated. Yeah. This is, like, widely known knowledge.
That's right.
This is not, it's not fake. Yeah. It's not hidden. Yeah. Nothing gets done about it. Right. The Epstein list.
Oh, yeah.
That's ridiculous. It's an insult to our country that has not been released, prosecuted. Like, you want to cancel someone? Like,
it's right
come on. Don't cancel the celebrity who's a big YouTuber that truly does nothing to he doesn't make an impact. You watched his YouTube videos and they were entertaining, and then he did something wrong, and now it's an uproar. Like, go after the people that are, like, making the world an awful place. Like, oh my gosh. Like, and like, just in general, like, when you start getting into, like, sex trafficking and things like that, like, this is a huge issue. I think Michigan's number 3.
It is in the nation. Huge.
What conversations are we having about this?
Zero.
And who's being punished? Like,
and if they are happening, it's behind closed doors somewhere, because these are not topics that people aren't comfortable, discussing. They should be,
because they're ugly topics.
Yes.
And that's why I think maybe
so is mental health. I mean, that's an ugly topic to a lot of people.
Tough topic, and it's triggering too. I mean, I've lost friends. I've lost people that I consider family. My grandmother, I didn't get to meet her, but died by suicide. Like, it's all this topic is very real, and until we actually do something about it. Like, you know what I mean? Not much is going to change, but we're doing so much. I just want to say that especially mental health wise in schools and overall, like Michigan has some of the best resources out of the whole country, especially in the Metro Detroit area.
That's awesome.
That doesn't mean we have enough, because we
Right.
don't. But there's not enough mental health professionals right now to do everything that we need to do.
Right. Well, it's as we wrap up here, it's something that hits home with me pretty hard. I mean, I have learned, and I didn't know this until fairly recently on my mom's side of the family, that there were some mental health issues, like real deep issues, I guess. But and when I was 6 years old, my mom left and just said, I'm done. She left, and I didn't see her for years.
And that's rough.
So I didn't, well, as a kid, you start to look at a household and you go, I have no reference point of what a normal home looks like with a mom. I have no idea. You know, so then I started looking at my own life, my relationships, the lack of certain things. Then, and I'll fast forward. So then whenever I tried to get, you know, she would try to come back in my life, it was just awkward. It never stuck, right? And then in 2009, I get a phone call, and she was 54 years old, my age as I'm right now, and she took her life. Mm-hmm. You know, so it makes me wonder why so many people allow themselves to, they allow themselves to just kind of go through the motions and not, if you're stressed, you're feeling anxious, you're depressed, you know, go get help. It's not a bad thing, right?
Well, we live in a society where we're kind of, I don't want to say this as like fact, but we have this idea, notion, or maybe just push to not feel. Yeah. So you don't have to feel anxious because you can distract yourself with TV or TikTok. You don't have to feel anxious because alcohol is cheap. You don't have, like, things like that where we have all of these different things where I think a lot of people think, well, if I don't have to feel it, if I avoid it, then I don't have to.
We numb ourselves.
And that is, so I don't use good or bad coping skills. This is very important. So, for example, if I were to go in front of a school and say that drugs and alcohol are a bad coping skill, there's going to be a student in there who goes, the only thing that gets me through my abusive household is by using this.
That's sad.
And it takes me away from all of my stress. I don't feel depressed or anxious when I use. How are you going to tell me that is a bad coping skill? So what we use are healthy and unhealthy. So this is an unhealthy coping skill. And unhealthy coping skills will lead down this path.
Right.
And I think that is, it's truth. You can connect with it, and you can see the honesty in that.
Right.
And saying these are the healthy coping skills that will lead you down this path.
Yeah.
But that's the thing with verbiage. Like, it's so important to have specific verbiage because there's, when you're talking about triggering topics, and you can either uproar somebody or you can shut them down. And my keynote is meant to inspire you, but to connect with you, to give you these verbiage and ideas so that you're not sitting there going, well, I guess he's just another adult who doesn't get it because...
Yeah. You just didn't, that's crazy. So where can people find you? I mean, you mentioned before we came on here, you know, have I seen one of your shows? The answer is no, I want to. Where can all of us go find you? Tell them, you know, obviously you're all over under Anthony Grupido. I think I saw an official one, but most of your social channels is just your first and last name.
It's just me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. My Instagram has kind of been more my focus, and LinkedIn, of course. LinkedIn I'm starting to get into way more.
On the corporate stuff, I imagine.
I don't even know how to use LinkedIn. I just post, and sometimes no one sees it. Sometimes more people do. But my website, themagicofhope.com, has plenty of stuff. And it's really easy to get a hold of me. The Magic of Hope, and I post my shows publicly, you know, on my social media and things like that. But you know, my school programming and stuff is closed to the public, obviously.
Right.
But this October, I have 2 shows. One of them is in Lake Orion. And I'm opening for, his name is, I forget his last name, a comedian named Chris, and this is going on at Wildwood Amphitheater in Lake Orion.
Okay.
And then the last Sunday of October, I'm doing my Magic and Mimosas show at Whiskey Taco Foxtrot. So these are entertainment
God, I would love
only.
to go to that.
So the whole TED team actually went last year. They had a blast. So.
Oh, nice. Oh my gosh. No, this has been awesome. I'm very grateful and humbled that you took time out of your day
Yeah,
to
I had fun.
come to my show, Imagine Better. And you know, I always say me, myself, and I are very grateful. But you know, it's a growing show, trying to get it out there and do more with it. I mean, I struggle too, even though I'm in marketing. I'm inundated, so trying to get my own content out there sometimes is a challenge. I love the shorts on across the different social channels, but I don't produce enough shorts. And those are what the people, they have the attention span for.
You know, even just getting those little reels out there, super nice. So.
Exactly. So again, episode 15, my friend. You know,
Let's go.
The Magic of Hope. I love that name, by the way. And that is solid. You guys, welcome my friend Anthony here. And look him up. I'll provide all his information in the description below. Thank you for tuning in every week. Episode 15. You know, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the notification so you don't miss other amazing episodes like this. And you know what? If you have an opinion or just drop us a comment. Let's spread this message out there. This is a huge topic that needs, to be taken more serious than what it is. So, love you guys. Have a great day and imagine better.